Good evening and welcome to CM Performing Arts Center's online live speaker series, CM Spotlight. I'm your host, Tim Pappalardo. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. So last week, we chatted with the boys, Craig Boscia, Buckwald, DePergios, and Frankie Gabriel. And it was an amazing interview, a long one too, over 120 minutes of just fantastic talk. And it's safe to say that the laughs just did not stop. So if you missed this interview, please check out CM's Facebook and YouTube pages and you can check them out. We also had some past interviews with jazz and pop recording artist Jane Monheit, Broadway conductor Sonny Palladino, Broadway actors Anthony Robert Jones, Nikki Sanchez, and a Tony Award winning sound designer Jessica Paz. And they are all CM alumni. So as a reminder, we have another fantastic online program called CM Live featuring the talents of our stage performers. I'm scrolling down to find that logo. Here is that program, and I am going to bring in Elise Arpino. Hey, Elise, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I spent the day outside. I hope you did too.
I got to go out a little bit towards the end of the day, which was awesome.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
totally beautiful.
It was.
So tell me a little bit about what is happening with this week's CM Live.
Yeah. So we're super excited about another week of CM Live. Really, really fun. Everyone that you've seen has had a theme. So this one is Now and Then, which is really fun because we have some amazing alumni that are going to come back and perform for us. And then we have some of the newer talent at CM that is in the shows that you may be currently seeing now.
So the concept is then and now, right?
Exactly.
So how does that my computer is slow today. I'm like clicking and clicking and clicking and trying to make it move to the next screen, and it's just not processing. It's not processing. So okay, so it's Now and Then. So are people singing two songs? Are we doing performers from past and present? How is it? How is that all?
So you're going to see a mix of a lot of different things. What's really fun is our two hosts are related, which is exciting. Oh. So Rob Schindler is one of our alumni, and his niece is actually Dory, who is going to be hosting with him.
Awesome.
Fun too. Yeah. So you're going to see some stuff with two people, some stuff with one person. It'll be really fun. I don't want to give too much away. You want to tune in.
Gotcha.
If you got to catch today's promo, it was some fun about what's going to go on.
So you can check that out by going to CM's actually Instagram or our Facebook. We do ads throughout the week in order to pique interest, and it is there for you to look at. So the details here, it's CM's Cabaret Series. It's tomorrow at
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, and it's going to be right here on CM's Facebook and YouTube. So
at cmpac.com/live.
/live. So we also, we also have a job to do, and I like to bring Elise on to talk about this too. But we're going to talk about it a little differently because we are a nonprofit. We have to raise money. So we are going to talk about the 5 W's, the who. Elise, I'm going to shift over this way. So we're going to talk about the who, what, when, where, when, and why. So who are we? We are CM Performing Arts Center. We are a year-round theater that produces main stage, children's theater, educational programs, touring programs. What else? Did I miss anything, Elise?
You got everything. We do day rep. We have Journey. Mm-hmm. That's everything. You got everything.
Okay. So what? We want you to consider donating to our nonprofit organization, CMPAC.com, and I'll bring up the link here. It's CMPAC.com/donate. So the where. You can donate on CM's GoFundMe page by clicking on this link. It'll bring you to our website, and then you click on the next link, and it'll bring you right to that. See, the funny thing is that my notes are different than what this picture is. So clearly I should have read the picture. Okay, so
So far doing great.
So right now, there's no time like the president, like that musical Avenue Q. Everything in life is only for now. So now, if you can donate now, that would be fantastic. And the why, Elise, why should people donate now?
Why? So far, the GoFundMe has been our lifeline. It's cmpac.com/donate. Yeah, you can see it on the bottom scrolling.
Right there.
It's been our lifeline. It's been our support. We have been trying as much as we can to bring you quality performing, even while we're home. That's what we do. And we want to bring smiles to your face and brighten your day. So, but at the same time, even though we're not in our building and in our home, we have all of our bills to pay. And we want to be able to be there for you and be ready to open the doors as soon as we're given the okay. So it's honestly the way that we can support each other at this time. We want to support you at home. We want to bring you great entertainment that we're known for, Broadway quality in Oakdale. And we want to be ready and we want to be there for you because obviously, as you know, there's no shows in the building. And so there's no tickets being sold. So that's our lifeline right now.
So the who, what, when, where, and why. cmpac.com/donate. Elise, thank you so much for coming on.
You're so welcome. Really fast. I'm sorry. I don't want to break it. But also, the love and support that we've seen so far has been incredibly humbling. And the way that people are sharing, and there are people that donate every time they watch one of our events. We love you. That helps us to continue on. Just know that we're all thinking about you, and as much as you're there for us, we love being there for you. So we appreciate everything everybody's done so far also. Keep it up. We're there, we're almost there. We have that goal. So thank you, Tim. I want to thank you for this.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Elise, for coming on. Thanks for going through this with me. And I will say on behalf of everybody else, Elise, thank you for the great job that you are doing, leading this organization in this time. And just want you to know that you are incredibly valued and respected.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Clap all around.
Thank you.
So, Elise, oh my God, we're going to be talking with Michael Carbonaro today.
I know. So
I actually am I'm nervous. I'm never nervous, but today I don't know what it is. It must have been something Michael said to me beforehand that got me a little nervous. So, but I'm very excited, and I'm going to bid you adieu. Now I get some one-on-one time with Michael.
Fun. I'm jealous.
All right. Well, I will talk to you later. Thanks, Elise. Okay. So as a reminder, this is a live interview. So if you have questions that you would like to ask Michael, please feel free to ask them in the question or comment section, and I will bring them right into the interview. So with that, let's get this spotlight underway. Best known as the star and executive producer of the hit series The Carbonaro Effect on True TV, Michael Carbonaro has made frequent television appearances in such shows as Happily Divorced, 30 Rock, Grey's Anatomy, and CSI Miami. I think he played a villain in that one, a very sexy villain. A performing magician since his youth, he studied experimental theater at New York University with the aspiration of entertaining audiences through a variety of theatrical mediums, including hidden camera magic, which he later showcased frequently on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. He has a hit comedic series, The Carbonaro Effect, which has run for over 100 episodes on True TV. A true trickster at heart, Michael performs inventive tricks on suspicious members of the public who are unaware that he is a magician, and he leaves real people just bewildered and audiences laughing out loud. And I have a clip from I think it's from this season, and I'm going to play that for you now.
Hello.
Hi.
Michael Carbonaro.
What can I get for you?
Has an effect on people. Hiding in plain sight.
I'm just trying to figure out this ball return.
He makes them fall for the impossible.
Just going right here, I had them open up that part, and I'm fully adjustable. So this part here
Oh my God.
Oh my God! Wait the hell a second. Does that not look like Kelly?
It totally looks like Kelly.
What? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh, that is freaking me out. Shut the up, man.
What's up, brother? What's going on, Jack?
Excuse my language, but I'm a little creeped out.
I thought he got sucked into that thing.
Oh, hell no.
Oh my gosh. There's a fire. I wouldn't even worry about it.
Just watch out.
Bring in the hole.
What?
Each one of them will secrete just a small amount, and I just gently massage like that. Oh, you see that?
This world is getting crazy.
Wait.
Oh my God.
This is the freakiest thing I've ever seen.
Holy It's not really any of our business to judge what somebody keeps inside there, so we're not really allowed to make a judgment call.
Like, nobody is going to believe us.
And now, basically, life is changing.
Yeah.
The whole universe is changing.
That's right. Things are shifting around.
Is everybody ready for the magic show?
Oh my goodness. Amazing. Please welcome the extremely talented CM alumna, Michael Carbonaro. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm great. That was a really cool trailer. I would watch that show.
Well, I think that's your show, Michael. I watched the trailer this afternoon, and you just can't stop laughing. The tricks, the illusions, they're absolutely amazing.
Thanks.
So I'm so glad you're here, and we appreciate your time. So how are you doing? Where are you?
I'm in Burbank, California, which is where I live. I've been in LA for 11 years now. Yeah.
So do you call yourself a Californian, or are you still a New Yorker?
I still have a Long Island exchange on my cell phone, so
I'll give you a 631 or
516 over here.
Oh.
So I think I'll just forever be Long Island in New York. But no, LA, and I love California. It's really great. So it's a fun time.
It's warm there, right? It's because
Yeah.
with the weather, every time I go to California, it's always either, the weather is beautiful or it's raining. But it's always just like a very nice, like 80, 82 degrees.
Yeah, it's good.
Totally
I
fantastic.
think
So
the best weather in the world is San Diego. I think it's like a constant perfect. That's like the dream until the world completely heats up and we all die. It's just gonna keep getting hotter.
It's true. So what are you doing to pass the time with social distancing? What's going on?
Oh, I've been on this roller coaster for 6 years doing the show, and this has kind of been a welcome, like, hold the phone moment. My first instinct once everything shut down and there was all this time was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I gotta get this. I had a whole bunch of projects. I gotta finish this, and I gotta get myself busy with that and make sure that happens. And then I was like, how about don't do that? So I've actually been really trying to reconnect with, and have been, just like a slower pace life and let creativity sort of bloom from that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how it's a different kind of creativity that comes out when you have sort of just time to just have ideas come to you instead of it's been a long, when you're in the business of it, it's a lot of we need ideas now, ideas, and you're putting ideas out. But to just kind of sit back and dream and allow things to bloom is from a different place. So oddly enough, I think I'm getting the same amount of work done on projects that I have planned as I am when I'm crazy. So there's lessons all over the place. Wasn't that a great non-answer? I've been doing nothing. No, I mean, I have been writing. I'm working on a couple of shows that if and when the world comes back, we're going to work on. And I have a show that I'm hoping to get out. That's a kind of a social distancing show that I can do and have record now. And that's it. Playing, relax time.
Well, it's good to take a moment to breathe a little bit because, looking at your life and looking at your stage show, it seems like you've had so many different cities and constantly moving. And you shared something with me that you actually landed for your last gig and then they canceled it upon landing.
That's right. Yes. And yeah, it was like, I guess the beginning of March. I think it was at the last. We flew in. Gosh, I don't even remember where it was. That's how many. I really like. It's just, it's just stage lights and hotel rooms, baby. No, no, but like we landed and we were worried. It was like right at the end of it. We were like, these are gonna get canceled. There's no way. So we like flew from LA. I had my boys come from New York and another one from Georgia all meet, and we literally didn't leave the airport parking lot. As soon as we landed, my agent called and was like, the whole weekend's been canceled. So we're like, great. So we just like rebooked flights and got back in the airport and went back home.
Well, it's a good thing.
It was a creepy time too. It was right when, everyone was wearing masks in the airport and the airport was pretty empty, and it just started to really feel like, whoa, this is coming. This is happening.
Yeah. So, Michael, I'm glad that you got home. I know because there are a lot of people who are like traveling and on the road who have not gotten home or got stuck to where they are. So the fact that you got home and you're safely there and able to, just be able to like stop for a moment.
Yeah.
To
just stop for a moment.
Exactly.
That wasn't, you were showing pictures before and there was one with like cards on the arm. Was that me?
Does that look like your thumb? Look up close. Is that your thumb?
Let me see. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Is that my thumb? I don't even know if I ever use those cards that have the numbers on both sides. Well, look, if you don't know, the internet's not going to know. I typed
in the word Michael Carbonaro, and then this popped up. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Careful with that.
Yeah. Well, I know this is you. That's definitely you.
Me. Yes.
That's you with Rachel. So, Michael, do you know that today is National Dance Like a Chicken Day?
Of course. Can you see I'm sweating? I've been dancing like a chicken since this. I didn't know.
Well, I was looking at what's happened today. Like, what's a big day? Because like Jane Monheit was here. She talked about it was International Jazz Day, and I was like, Michael's going to be here. I'm like, maybe it's going to be like International Magician Day, but today it was National Dance Like a Chicken Day.
That's probably more suiting anyway.
So again, Michael, thank you so much for being here. People, if you have questions and you're listening to the broadcast, please throw them into the Facebook comment section, and we will make sure to bring those in. So, Michael, we're going to start from the beginning. So how did you get involved in theater specifically, like theater in New York?
Through CM. What are you, crazy? I mean, that's how we got involved in theater. I was watching Chuck, my brother, who first found out about CM through a friend of his, and he was doing, I think he started with doing station. Oh, no, wait a minute. I had just gone to California because my cousin died, and I went to California to be with my other cousin for the summer, and that was the summer when I heard about my brother was doing a play, and I'm like, what is he doing? It's like, he's doing Jesus Christ Superstar. And I'm like, what? So I was like only hearing about this over the phone, and I missed it. And I heard about this group, Creative Ministries, that he was doing these plays with. So I came back home after that summer, and I got into doing stations was my first gig with CM. So, I mean, I always loved performing. I think I kind of like found a love of my quick like little stories. I sort of like wanted to be a makeup artist, and then makeup artist kind of led me to magic, and magic kind of led me to performing. So then performing led me to acting and entertainment and dancing like a chicken. But it was CM, and I was Joseph in Stations of the Cross in 1972.
You look like an old actress.
That's a quote from Noelle. That's Liz Gentleman right there, who is in the first shows I did with Creative Ministries. And Liz had gotten all dressed up one night, and she was in this beautiful gold dress, and she looked great. Her hair was up, and she looked classy, which is what I think Noelle was trying to say when he looked at her and said, "You look like an old actress." She's like, "Thank you."
I don't know whether this is a compliment, but you look like an amazing. So, because normally I would ask you then, like, what was your first show? So what was your first like stage I know you talked about Journey Across Crucifixion, but what was your first time on CM stage? What was your first show?
Oliver, and it wasn't a CM stage. It was St. Joseph's College. St. Joseph's, right? St. John's, St. Joseph's, St.
Okay.
Joseph. Where is it? It's in Patchogue, you know.
St. Joseph's.
St. Joseph's. Someone write it in. Yeah, I think St. Joseph's College. It was Oliver, the summer of 1990.
I think the guys who were here last week. I think they were in that production as well because they talked about Oliver a couple. So were you? No.
Wait. Which guy? No, Rob wasn't. And then you had Frankie Gabriel was not in my Oliver, and
Mike DiPergio
my Oliver.
Mike DiPergio.
Liz Gentleman played the pregnant lady in the Papa scene. You might remember that. Leslie Lancantin. Leslie Lancantin.
Yes. Okay.
She was
Nancy.
Yeah, what's her last name now?
Oh.
This is the Michael Can't Remember Anything show. But I remember her as who she was. She was Nancy. No, Leslie, we called it Leslie Lancantin or Lancantin. That's how she told me she pronounced it. It's like, how do you say it? She's like, Lancantin. I'm like, okay. And Brad Reach was Bill Sykes. So
then Bob DiPergio was in it because he talked about how Brad came out like this.
Yeah, no, Bob DiPergio was not in it. No, it was Andrew Prince was Fagin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Rich Panetta was one boy, Mr. Bumble. I was the Artful Dodger.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's you with the very big bow. I saw pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a very long time ago. I didn't recognize you, but I know
black and whites. Yeah. No, I was bummed about that jacket because the movie, first, this is like where my head was at about like what it's like to be an actor. I was like, they're doing a show, they're doing a play, which I'd never even heard of it. They're doing a show called Oliver. I'm like, I want to play Oliver. Like, that's what, right? Like, that's going to matter. And someone told me they were like, Dodger's a better part for you. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Dodger? What does that mean? Better part for me? What is this? I felt like being the lead was the best thing ever. Yeah. So I ended up so I watched the movie and I was like, oh, wow, the Dodger's really cool. And he had this super cool dark green tailed jacket. And so when it came to doing the show and they were making the costumes, they had made this, it was Mrs. Trentacost actually took a man's plaid jacket and converted it to a tailed coat. But I was like really upset that it was plaid. I really wanted that dark green coat. And then I was talking to Noelle and I'm like, Noelle, I really I don't know about that jacket. It's a little clowny. And then, someone was up on stage with it while I was down. He's like, look at how that jacket pops on stage. A dark green jacket's going to vanish into the background. And I was like, but he was right. It popped.
Yeah.
And that jacket made my career.
Thank you, jacket. So it's Leslie Claire Lent.
Lent, of course.
That's her. I think her real. Is that her?
And then later, here I was Dodger to her being Nancy, and then cut to later, she was Janet, and I was Dr. Frankenfurter. So there's a jump.
Yeah.
Not at CM. We did that at another Long Island operation.
Another place. So what was your go-to audition song, Michael?
It probably is the same. Let me think. You know what I would do from high school? I used to, I think I auditioned for NYU with from the Music Man. The only affirmative she will file refers to marching down the aisle. No golden glory. What does that song sing? God,
no, sir.
Flatter but wiser girl. And Corner of the Sky. And yeah. I think I auditioned for NYU with Corner of the Sky and Flatter but wiser girl.
Because last week, literally, Frank Gabriel was on last week, and I asked him the same question. He's like, "Corner of the Sky. Do you need a ballot? Corner of the Sky. Do you want a slow pace?
Yeah.
Corner of the Sky."
Like tempo. Corner of the Sky a little bit faster. Yeah.
So do you have a favorite moment of working at CM?
It was all hell. It was just awful. Yeah. A favorite moment. Gosh, there's so many. I mean, I feel really lucky to have been, because then they got the Oakdale Theater, and that was an enormous, giant changeover. But I recall the very first studio, or it can't even be the first, right? But when I was there, and on Knickerbocker, then they moved to another studio.
Dante Court.
I remember there was a time when, after it had become CM at the theater, CM at the theater, it was like, I was talking with Mrs. Schindler actually about this. It was like we were recalling Oliver, and we remembered, back then it was like, it was funny because there's something about, and this is true with just anything, like when something's shoestring and done out of love, it's just, there's like a different energy there. Like I remember, for Oliver, they would send out like prop lists, like, hey guys, we all need this, and everyone in the cast would go home with a prop list, like who's got a teapot, and who has a hanging parrot for Fagin's place, and who has this, and we'd all bring it in, and we need a wardrobe, we need a painting that looks like this kid or whatever, and it was just like, let's put on the show. Like there was just such a, we're all here to put on this show with these like 4-hour scene changes with these like giant heavy sets. Like I can remember just like the orchestra like trying to like vamp in between, and there's like 900 stage crew guys like coming out like as they're trying to like move like Fagin's set out of the way. But it was like such like the that was there for just was different once it became a like a real professional theater. Yeah. But I don't mean to say that as like it changed in a bad way, but there's just something to when things are kind of fringy that has such a nostalgia and a love that it really just distills down to the heart of what is really always there at Creative Ministries is the love and the family. But I mean that it distills it down when it's not professional. All of a sudden you're like, look at what this came from. This came from a bunch of people all wanting to pull off the best thing they can together. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
This guy's full of it, man.
You really talked. You hit the nail on the head about what CM is and still is today. It's all about bringing people together to celebrate the arts, and hopefully people are bringing their families to do it together too. And we're still there doing the same thing, just in a different space. And we have our set changes.
I remember. Yeah, when stuff got more pro, like, man, I remember I went to NYU, and then when I had come back, I think I saw production of 42nd Street, and like I could not believe the like people on stage tapping and how like great everybody was tap dancing. Like I was like at NYU trying to tap dance, and I'm like a ding dong, and I come back to Long Island, and this show was like really well put on, and I was like, wow, like the level of skills was a lot different than our big heavy set being moved at St. John Joseph's College.
So I would ask you, Michael, do you think that community theater like CM plays in the education of performers, people who want to go on and have a professional career?
Oh my God, yes. It's like the experiential, probably more, I don't know, it's like in a way more so than training, because you're really there, and you're finding your own groove and living out the moments on stage in the lights, and just learning the real ropes of how it is, for sure. I mean, yeah, that's everything, learning all of that. It was my introduction to all of it. And that's the way you do it, I guess, unless you're just like get stuck into really bad habits with bad like directors with bad advice or something. But it wasn't really the case there. I mean, sure, you could always like learn more and better, but with CM, it was like there's always people who are trying to like get to the next level, and like there's some real great talent, and you're always trying to be like them or admiring them, and when I grow up I want to be like them. And so there's nothing like that experiential. I tell people all the time when they ask about like magic, like if I'm going to be a magician, like what's the best thing to do, and I'm like, get involved in community theater, like do anything non-magic that's going to help your performance abilities, take dance or do a show or any of that, and not just be like stuck doing magic tricks at home.
So it helped you develop as a performer and as a storyteller, having that experience.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would ask you now, being that we're older, I'm ever so much more than 20. I grew up a long time ago. That's from Peter Pan. What does CM mean to you now?
You know, I wrote to Kate Arso, and then she hooked me up with Brian Schnurman, because I also just like wanted to listen to the station's music again. And I was like, is there a recording of Noelle singing Lay Your Burden Down somewhere? And Brian was super cool to like send me the CD that they recorded, you know, with all the songs on it. And that doesn't have Noelle singing, which, by the way, if anybody has that, even if it's VHS, convert that to audio. I really want to hear Noelle singing like Lay Your Burden Down and like Down the Via Dolorosa. That would be amazing. But gosh, what does it mean now? It carries with it it has a lot to do with how I feel about home, like just hometown, and like my truest friends on Long Island. And because I've just been through so many experiences with those people, that family. So it's everything from all the magic of learning theater and being involved in those shows, you know, as that part of my my early education in theater, but also just like it means to me now. It carries with it this, and hearing the music, I played it. It was right. He sent it. It like got here right before Easter Sunday, which was adorable. And I had it. I was playing it, and I was like, what? And my husband ended up like knowing the songs. I was like, what? I thought they were like station songs. Like, I'm not very a churchgoer, but I guess some of them, they were ripped off from other churches. But it carries with it a nostalgic sense of home and love and family and friends and theater. So it's a magical bouquet.
So, Michael, thank you for sharing that, and thank you also for talking about Noelle in such a positive light. And we all try to connect. I think we all try to connect back with him. He was the heart of the organization, and still is the heart of the organization. And we, and through this series, we've been able to talk about him a lot, because a lot of people know about CM and know about Noelle, and it's been really great to sort of bring him, I mean, honestly, back to life in this series. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. So, Michael, we last week we started a new series called or a segment called "Do You Remember Your Lines?"
Oh dear God!
So so before we jump in and talk about magic, and we talk about the Carbonaro effect, I thought we'd play a little game.
Please.
So here's where we're gonna quiz you on the characters that you played on CM's stage, and if you remember your lines. So.
Okay. Great.
As you can see, I spent all the money on the graphic.
That's good stuff. You have a professional news studio and the time life operator. Look.
How may I help you today?
I'm standing by if anybody would like to order encyclopedias.
Absolutely. So, but I thought it would be fun in this game that we're going to play that you have a scene partner.
Great.
So what better than having an actor that you performed with when you actually played these roles? So
my God.
So she is the Rizzo to your Kaniki. She's the Audrey to your Oren. Did I say that right? Oren?
Yeah, I know. Okay. And as you said it, I was like, that wasn't his. Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Please welcome Christina Diorda Muse, or as we know her, Christina Di Damosa. Welcome.
Look at you. She's like backstage at a performance right now.
In my son's bedroom because my Wi-Fi works there.
Like, hi.
Well, Christina, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So we are going to play this game. Do you remember your lines? So as you can see, Christina is here, and I clearly wrote the same thing twice. So, Michael, are you ready? Christina, are you ready?
I am very ready.
Wait, that's not fair. Oh, I have to remember them.
No, not Christina. It's not that you have to remember.
I have to remember them on June 11th. Okay. Come on, but right now I'm good.
Okay, so here's how it's going to go, Michael. We're going to start, and then I'm going to point to you, and that's what you're. Amazing. So I'm going to point to you, and that's where you're going to come in, okay? Christina, you ready?
Like a scene.
Wherever you go. You ready?
Go ahead, Christina.
What is that thing?
Hey, what took you so long?
Never mind what took me so long. Is that your new custom convert?
This it is. Ain't it cool?
Yeah, it's about as cool as a good humor truck.
Yeah, you'll be getting a lot in the back seat of that one, Riz.
That was really close.
It's very close. Okay, Rizzo, if that's how you feel, why don't you go back to your pajama party? Plenty of chicks would get down on their knees to ride around in this little number.
Yeah.
See, I was just
Sure they would. What do you think this is? A gangbang?
that's not bad.
No, you did a good job. Okay, so here's part 2 of the Grease segment. Okay, so hey Rizzo, I hear you're knocked up.
Oh, that's the only one I remember.
Okay, good.
Damn. Okay.
You do, huh? Boy, good news really travels fast.
So, what do you say we get Jan's Rickers out of this basement and go talk about it in the parking lot like responsible adults?
Hey, listen, why didn't you tell me?
Hey, don't worry about it, Kaneki. You don't even know who the guy is.
Thanks, kid.
Yes.
Was that it?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, Michael. So you're doing a great job. You're doing
We
a great job.
actually smoked real cigarettes on stage during that. Kids. Oh, wow.
So this is the 2 of you in the show. I brought that picture up. You guys look great.
Oh my God.
Okay, so Michael, we're gonna do the second set. Are you ready?
Okay,
So
I am.
the second set is from I should have told you that was from Greece, but you got that in like the first second. So the second bit is from Little Shop of Horrors.
Right. Okay.
So this is Oren.
Okay.
We're gonna do okay, costume change.
I'm just holding dental things.
Okay. So hey, how you doing? Fine, thank you. But the shop's closed. I'm not here to shop. I'm here to.
What is that thing?
Yep. What do you call it? An Audrey 2.
Nice plan. Something big.
Yes, it's
oh,
it's
nice
right
name.
Cute name.
Big.
Exactly. Okay, and then the here's the last one. You're doing really great, Michael. So Christina, you actually start, right?
It's okay, Seymour. This is my boyfriend, Seymour. Oren Scrivello. DDS. DDS.
I'll tell you one thing, guy. You say you raised this thing right. Well, if I were you, I sure as hell wouldn't keep it under a barrel under Skid Row. This avocado.
It's got potential, man. You could be out there with this thing. Making money. God, I don't remember that at all.
It's okay. So, all right. So we'll just finish it right here. So,
I have a Little Shop script somewhere in this room, actually.
So I don't care. I'm happy to be here.
Seymour is very loyal.
Loyalties for pigs and losers.
Somebody talking to you?
Somebody talking to you, woman.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, what?
Excuse me, doctor. Excuse me, doctor.
That's more like it.
Yes.
All right, that was awesome. Yeah. Wow.
This was another segment of Do You Remember Your Line?
Your line. You have to get little stings now.
I was very fortunate to have the script.
I literally was just looking through that script the other day. I have my brother. My brother played the dentist in high school, and I have his like original book script somewhere. Anyway.
Well, thank you, Christina, for joining us this
Christina,
evening.
It was so great to see you.
Oh, you too. I miss you.
Oh my God, I miss you too.
We'll talk soon. All right. Be safe. I love
Bye,
you
guys.
both.
Bye, Christina. Michael, thank you so much for joining in that game. I hope it brought back a little bit of memories for you.
Oh yeah, that was rad. What a fun idea. That was really cool.
Can't tell if you're being serious or you're being facetious.
I'm being totally serious. You kidding? That was a blast.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So, Michael, what was the aha moment when you were like, you know what, I want to go and I want to study this and I want to be an actor? What was that moment? What was that moment?
I wanted to be the next David Copperfield. I wanted to just be a magician. I went to NYU with the sole thought of just becoming the next David Copperfield. I was like, I'm gonna go. Did you hear the burp during that? Diet Coke. I went to NYU and I studied musical theater at NYU, and then I moved from musical theater to film and TV and experimental theater because I just wanted to learn everything I could about theater to make the world's coolest magic show. But through like acting training at NYU, I actually really found a love for just performing and being funny and doing comedy scenes and doing straight plays. And I started to do stand-up in the city, and I was like, oh, maybe I want to be an actor. And then so I was like, maybe I do want to be an actor. So, and I still haven't figured that out exactly. So it's sort of just like both. But as far as an aha moment, I do remember when I was in 7th grade, I got my cummerbund and suspenders and bow tie for Soundsation show choir at OBJ. Oakdale Bohemia Road Junior High School, and gloves. We had like color guard gloves that year. And I remember when we got those uniforms for the first time, I auditioned and I was in show choir, and I, yes, what? As a 7th grader, you bet I made it. And then I went home and I put it on. I was like in front of the mirror and I was like wearing the bow tie and the sparkly stuff. And my mom was just watching me kind of like watch myself. And she was like, she said, wow, you are a born entertainer. And I remember like taking that in and being like, what? And I was like, wow, that's been maybe the truest thing when I try to figure out, am I a magician, am I an actor, am I comedian or makeup? What do I, but like, I'm an entertainer. And I like, that's my favorite title still.
Because when I was talking with you about like the poster that we used to advertise this, the first thing you wrote, and I thought you were going to say like the first thing on the line was going to be magician, and then but it was opposite. It was actor, magician.
Did I say
producer.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, did I? don't know. Yeah, I guess so. You know, trying to validate myself. I mean, the thing is, it's always magic. You know, like it's always hocus pocus for even actors that aren't magicians. This whole business is magic. It's an illusion. It's creating something that's not real and making it look like it is, and special effects in the movies and someone making a character that exists out of nowhere. It's all magic and puppet strings and hocus pocus. So we're all magicians, really.
So I remember seeing your debut episode on the Tonight Show. What was that like for you to have like that evening? You're about to walk on stage and be standing next to him. What was that like?
Well, this is a fun thing. The Tonight Show was pre-taped segments. So by the time, I was going on the show, I was just walking out there to like talk to Jay and talk to the audience and set up the clip. And then we showed it. So like all the hard work of the magic segment was already done, which is great. Mm-hmm. But I was nervous, man. I mean, every time I went on that show and you're backstage and the band's going and you're up next and they're doing the mic and everything, it's like, I don't think one time I was on that show 8 times. I don't think there was one time that I wasn't back there with like some form of like jitters. Just like, so, I don't know, beautifully annoying. Sometimes I wish I'm like, I don't know. And nerves are a thing. And I know a lot of theater people here. So like nerves are really wild, like, first of all, I appreciate getting nerves because it does mean you care, you have energy because you want to do something and you want it to be good. And there's stakes for it. Mm-hmm. So that's what that is, like if you were just totally blasé, that would maybe mean something else. Not that it's not fun sometimes to just sort of like do a show where you're like cool as a cucumber and you're just feeling it. Not that you should always be like a nervous wreck when you're acting or anything, but I had an acting teacher out here, Jack Plotnick, who talked about how nerves are, we talked about how nervousness and excitement are that same energy level. Like, right, like before you go on a roller coaster, you're like, I'm nervous, but you're excited. It's like, it's that same feeling. And if you like, when you're really nervous before you do something, you can almost kind of tune into that and be like, wow, that's excitement, you know? And he said that Judi Dench talks about getting really nervous when she's going to act, and that nervousness is her batteries, like that energy. Like you got to like use that energy. And the worst thing to do is like, I'm not nervous, and try and like get rid of it. Just sort of like ride that energy. I've forgotten the question.
No, it was
the Tonight Show. I was nervous back there. I was nervous, you know. I was nervous. I slipped into Long Island here.
So when do you have a Long Island accent?
It's funny. I went to NYU and like learned how to speak without a Long Island accent. And then when I finally got to LA and I was getting booked in things, it was like getting booked for like these New York parts where I like had to talk like this, and I did really well on like guest stars talking back in Long Island talk.
So when you shared that you got on to like this big platform, what did your family say?
Well, it's about time. You know? I mean, in a way, you know, it was kind of like people are always like, people say like, if you ever told your 13-year-old self that you would have had your own TV show, would you have believed it? I was like, you bet I would have. At 13, I would have been like, of course I will. But talk to me 10 years after college, when I was like, I don't think this is going to happen. Like, I don't know, you know, like I think I was I didn't like, wow, I had just come to a place in my life really like okay with like, I had big dreams, wanted to be the next David Copperfield. I wanted to be a big movie star and be like Johnny Depp. And then like, you know, it was like, okay, this might not happen, you know? And I was living in LA with my boyfriend, now husband, and I was working at the Magic Castle. I was getting a couple guest star roles on TV every now and then. And I was like, you know what? I'm happy. Like, this is cool. This is enough. I'm okay. And then the opportunity to get like a TV show came after that. So I sort of like negotiated through that show, Cool as a Cucumber, because I didn't need it to like validate myself. I was sort of like, you know, there were some opportunities to do it another way earlier. And it was like, I wasn't going to get like really good control over the show, and I wasn't being treated right in the contract. And I was like, I just let the whole thing go. And it was like, you know, and I didn't have anything else on the back burner. I was just like, but this isn't it. I know I'm not going to be happy if I do this, which that would have been crazy. 5 years before that, it would have been like, what, a show? Let's do it. I don't care. I'll do it. However, you know, so it kind of came at a really cool place.
So the Carbonaro effect. I can tell you, there is never a time when I'm on a Delta flight that this picture does not come up on the screen.
I love that one.
So the Carbonaro effect. Tell me about it.
Well, it's funny too, because like now I'm in LA and I'm trying to be an actor, and then there's this this casting call that the Tonight Show wanted to meet with magicians because they wanted to do a magic segment. They actually wanted to do a hidden camera magic segment. So like the idea is not new, even though like everybody thinks I'm the guy who made up hidden camera magic, but I'm not. Like there's been really great TV shows before too. Like there was one in London called Undercover Magic. And there was one here in the States on MTV called Room 401. There were these guys called Them, Totally Hidden Extreme Magic, that had a show on NBC. That was magicians undercover, hiding out in public and pulling off pranks. So they wanted to do a segment like that on The Tonight Show. They didn't have any really good ideas for what it could be like. So my agent, who was sending me out on a bunch of stuff, he like sent me this like thing to go in for it, and I did not want to go in. I was like, oh god, this is like stupid as hell. Like I've seen those things with the hidden camera and your magic, and like they like jotted down a whole bunch of ideas and they were kind of dumb, and I was like, oh whatever. So I was in this kind of like almost the same place as I was saying before about like kind of over it in a way that I was like, I don't really need this. So I went to the audition and was just sort of like, and I wrote a whole bunch of stuff that I thought if I actually had to do it, this would actually work. And I gave out these ideas that I was like, I want to do things that they're not just like, oh, that someone would go like, oh, I'm funny, you're a magician. You'd want them to be like, wait, what? And like really believe in these moments. So I presented a whole bunch of trick scenarios and I got the gig. And those exact tricks that I came up with and brought into that audition were the very first Magic Clerk segment. So all those ideas. So, and then it just, you know, kept going. We were like, just made 8 of them. And it was like really traumatic and difficult to make but super fun. And I found a real groove getting to do magic, comedy, and improv all together.
Did you ever think that was going to be the avenue?
No, but I immediately felt like when I was in college, I wanted to make a hidden camera TV show that utilized special effects and magic and do a little bit more like scary things. And this was before the show Scare Tactics came out. And when the show Scare Tactics came out, which was a hidden camera show that scared people, I was really upset. I was like, shit, that was my idea. Like, I wanted to do that. So I was kind of like, so when this happened, I kind of found this groove with the comedy of it, but I also had these other ideas that I wanted to do these like scary scenarios. So I immediately was like, this could be, I could be the like Ashton Kutcher of magic doing like a magic. And if it's a bigger show, I could bring in these more supernatural things that I had come up with years ago and like go wild with it. I really think I could do this. And so I was like, I was like, I could do that. So we had no idea how we were going to do it. And when I used to do the Magic Clerk on the Tonight Show, which is like a 3-minute segment, every time I had to do one, it was like, oh my God, how am I going to come up with enough ideas to fill this 3 minutes? And like, I was they'd be like, they'd call up and be like, can you do another one? And I was like, I don't want to burn it out. I don't want to make it bad. I want to make sure it's good. And every single time I was like, where am I going to get the ideas from? Cut to Carbonaro Effect. We've done 112 episodes of that show. Is absolutely like, that doesn't even, I can't believe it. There's no way. When they said I had to do 6 to 8 of them for the first season, I was like, I'm never going to come up. Like, if I, get the right people on board, I bet I could come up with enough ideas to make a really good 6 to 8 episode hidden camera magic series, but that'll be it.
Well, clearly, I mean, you succeeded. I mean, because you're a fantastic storyteller. I think what happens is that the audience just gets totally engulfed in the story and is not really paying attention to what's going on. Your storytelling and your ability to tell a story just makes it that much like I just don't understand how it happens, and because you get lost in it. You totally
Thank you. Yeah, I do too. I get lost in it too, and I also you showed a picture there. That was like me and my team. I didn't see exactly who it was. I know Matt and me were at the computer there, and I think Russ, my showrunner's in the back there, and Chad Sanborn on the side with his hand up. We're looking at a shot, making sure that the camera didn't get blocked when I did the trick or whatever. And but it's an enormous, not enormous, but it's a tight knit team of incredible minds that put the show together. Like we jam it out together. So I do have incredible help from the weirdest weirdos. There used to be a camp on Long Island called Tannen's Magic Camp. There's still Tannen's Magic Camp, but it's not on Long Island anymore. And I met a lot of the guys that ended up working on my TV show were like people I met as a kid at Tannen's.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's awesome. Full circle. That's totally awesome. So I was going to ask you, how do you come up with these illusions? Like, how do you come up with these concepts? Like, is it just like, I'm thinking, oh, I saw this. I think I can get someone this way. Like, how does it work?
Each one can come from a different place. It really can come from anywhere. As simple as like for one of the goofy ones, we did like an as seen on TV store where I had you ever hear of ear candling?
No, I don't think so.
It's like this thing they do at spas. It's like they put like a paper cone in your ear and they light it, and it's called ear candling, and it's supposed to remove the wax. I just always thought it was a strange phrase. So like I was like ear candling, and then I was like, well, that would be kind of funny if you're like actually making a candle out of your earwax. And I'm like, there's a bit, how about an earwax candle making kit, and I'll see if I can try and sell it to somebody. So we made up this thing. It was like this empty tube that you put like a wick in, and then it looked like I was sticking it all the way in my ear and like pulling it out, and then an earwax candle came out, and there was that idea. So it's just from some stupid like thought of like, what the hell does ear candling mean? Could be a bit, or I don't know. That some of the larger ideas come from, I'm trying to think of ones where I had one this season where we turned somebody, we made somebody believe that I just thought it'd be really cool to see somebody God, I don't know where this idea came from. Oh, yeah, you know what it was? I think I was talking to my friend Darren, and we were like, this might be the last season. And Darren Berger is another magician on the show, and I was like, what would be like a really cool last episode if we never do another season? The last episode, what happens to me? Like, so that it could like kind of end in a story. And he was like, he's like, you should turn to a cat. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Turn to a cat. And then that ended up morphing to this idea of, I loved the idea of someone turning into a cat. And then I was like, who would turn into a cat? And I was like, oh, a witch. So then we ended up coming up with this trick. And it was this multi-phase trick where this person was helping me like get ready for a house that was going to be put up for sale. And the old owner came in, and it was this like attractive young lady with red hair. And I left the room, and she's like folding tapestries. And you kind of get the sense that she used to live there, and that the house's decor is like couple weird items like a cat skull and like a pentagram, and you're like, who lived here? And she's like folding tapestry, and in folding the tapestry, she visibly like turned into an old woman, like a witch, right in front of his face. And then she went into the closet, which was like had a red light and like a hanging bone or whatever, and she like closed the door, and I come back in the room, and the guy's like trying to tell me what happened. I'm like, what? She turned old and she went. I'm like, what? And then I open the closet door, and there's no woman in there, just a cat. I don't know if that answers the question, but so for some idea of like turn to a cat, I'm like, turn to a cat. Who would turn to a cat? Like a witch. And what would happen first? How do we make a witch? How cool it would be if a young woman turned to a witch and then she turned to the cat, and I don't know. They just bloom.
It's multiple. I mean, it's multiple levels, and then there's a story behind it, and then it's like a friend of mine sells art, and she needs to put a story behind it so that someone's going to buy it. So it's similar. It's about putting that story behind it, and then having the people connect with it. Oh my gosh. It's very intricate.
Yeah. There always has to be some kind of something that you like the human brain has to hook, even if it's completely outlandish. Like, you're not going to be at 7-Eleven and like working a Slurpee machine, and then all of a sudden that person turns to stone. You'd be like, what is this, a prank? Like, what's going on? But like, if you're at a church and you find a weird, chalice, and you're cleaning that chalice with a rag, and now that rag is stone, you're like, what the heck? And you hand it to someone, and you're talking to the person, and now the person holding it is stone. That's going to like trigger some kind of like, I think that's real. That's real. That's happening. So yeah, you need to find the oomph-falala, as they call it.
Got it. So we have a question from Brian Sturman. How do you create the props?
Someone asked if that was Chewbacca, and no, It's a skeleton from the Mystic Museum.
So how do you create props and machines for the tricks, like the puppy compactor?
Oh, yeah. We got these great dudes, man, in Las Vegas who are brilliant illusion designers. And that's one of the most fun things to do, is to come up with, he's talking about the puppy compressor. I have one of those discs still, too, the flattened dog. I like put a dog into like a machine and flattened him down. Mm-hmm. The idea actually came from one of the first tricks I saw as a kid. Doug Henning on stage, like when I was really little, there was a Doug Henning special on, and Doug Henning put a girl into a big tube, and he squished the tube down, and she flattened into like a flat record. And as a kid, I totally believed he really did it. And it was sort of terrifying. Like, what? Like, she was like flat on this disc. And that really impacted me. One of the first illusions I saw, I was like really scared. Like, it was very Hansel and Gretel, or like, what the hell? Like, he can compress people down. And then he had like a whole record catalog of other celebrities, like on record discs. And then someone from the audience selected one at random, and he put it in, and they like opened it up and like outstepped Ed McMahon. And it was like, what the hell? So I loved that trick, and I never forgot it. And so when I was going to do the Carbonaro effect, I was like, I want to do that. How can I bring that into a reality that someone might believe? And then somewhere along the line, it was like, how about we do with a puppy? And we like call it like a kenneling system that like compresses puppies into these flat discs. But to answer the question, I went to Johnny Thompson, the late Johnny Thompson, one of the greatest like magic mentors, the godfather of magic. Him and these two dudes, one of them from Long Island, Tom Rubino from Long Island, now lives in Vegas, one of the top illusion designers. And my friend Vinny Giordano, and we sit around in a room and we like draw up what we need it to look like and how to make it. And this idea will work. And have you ever seen this old trick? And Johnny was kind of the guy who knew everything about magic. So that was a big loss when we lost him last year. But yeah, you go to those guys, you jam it up, and you build it, and sometimes it works. I mean that. Like, we have built things that have not made it onto the show where we're like, well, that's not happening.
Ellen Domlau, she said that she loved that episode.
Yeah. Thanks. I love that too. I made those discs myself. The discs where the actual flattened dogs were in. We had like an art team in the beginning that I needed it to look real. I just ended up being like, I'm making them myself, and I made them myself.
Made it them. I mean, today I watched your top 10 trick video. It's the Carbonaro Effect top 10 moments, and I actually was pulling up this moment, but I think the moment that we were all talking about is the moment that's directly after this. But I like this one because it has also the story that you were talking about.
Oh yeah.
But also the illusion.
Oh yeah. We don't have volume though.
You can't hear it?
No, I can't.
Okay, let's try that again. You know what? We talked, Michael, about how episodes can go really, really well, and then episodes sometimes technically aren't as easy. This is the not as easy episode.
That's fine. Hey,
technical wise, let's try it again. Let's see if we hear this now. Can you hear that?
Yeah. Peanut inside the center of it. So the denutter was a product made in the 70s. I'll put in 2 big scoops of our chocolate-covered peanuts here. See that? Look at. So now those guys are hollow, and the peanuts are separate.
What?
I know.
Oh my God. There is sorcery at play.
And it's just all about believing and about, because I watched that clip a couple times. I'm like, I think I understand how he did this trick or this illusion. And it's like, wait, how did the people not? And then you're in the moment and you're taking it all in, and it's like you don't catch all those things. So once the show is taped, so let's say you did that. What is your involvement once it leaves, like, the performance? Like, are you involved in editing? Like, how does that process work?
Yeah, early on, I mean, I was there for every single frame of every single trick, for every single everything. I was in the editing room, like making sure. It was kind of a learning thing that we like to show magic on TV. Like, even now when we were watching that clip, I'm like, move your elbow, because like as I was cutting that thing to show that it was hollow, that lady's elbow was in the way, and I think they cut it early, but we did get another shot once she moved her elbow that you could see the 2 hollow halves. But that's like one example of, like, you never know what's going to happen. And so especially when you're dealing, magic on TV is its own thing that is different than magic live. The camera flattens stuff out, and something that might misdirect someone live, if it's not shot correctly and the camera's not following it right, the trick is very easy to see. Sometimes it's a different world of it's a different medium to make magic happen. So that, plus you have people who don't know they're being filmed, and then they're standing like in the way of your camera. Anything can happen. So telling the story of what I really fooled the people with in the moment is a real puzzle. So I was there to really make sure that all the magic was solid, and we don't cut away, whenever we can not cut away to, like, on the magic moment to retain that. And because it's a hidden camera show, you want to leave on the magic to watch the magic the whole time, so the people at home can see the trick, but it's about seeing the person's reaction. So you have to kind of go back and forth in that story. So I would sit for probably for the first, what do we do? I think it's technically 5 seasons that we've done. Maybe for the first, 4. I think the first 4 seasons I was like really there, but they learn, the editors have learned the story and the flow together of how now they know. They're like, oh yeah, I remember. Like, they learn because I've sat with them before. Like, see how I showed that bucket was empty? I like purposefully tipped it toward the camera so you saw it was empty. Don't not show that. Make sure the home viewer sees it's empty. So then later when they're editing something else, they'll be like, oh, and I made sure you could see the box was empty, like we did with the bucket. They'll like learn. So they've gotten to a point where, the edits are great. Like, I'll watch them and I'll just do some fine tuning and stuff like that. But we kind of like figured out a language together.
So how much of it is scripted? Because we have a comment from Katie Boscia that your improv skill level is just untouchable. So how much, because you're dealing, obviously, you're not dealing with actors. You're dealing with people who are just walking up to the counter and have no clue this is happening. So, and you have to, is the concept sort of like
Well, there's a concept, especially because some of them are really complicated. So there's like a few beats we have to get to. So in a way, but like what I say a lot is like, I don't have scripted like what I'm going to say. I just give like a little hook of what I'm trying to get them to believe happened. And it's like a game of what do they say? What do I have to answer? What do we usually just whatever they are starting to believe, I'll go with it. You know, someone will be like, is it the heat that's making it do that? I'm like, yes, it's the heat, because it'll start to, like, if you want to believe that, then let's go with heat, you know? Like, but it's interesting because it becomes an improv game where you've got somebody, an unsuspecting person who kind of has lines that they don't know. And sometimes it's like, as a magician, like we as the magic team will be trying to get them to say something. You know what I mean? Like we want on camera, when I come back in that room at that house with the witch, for the guy to say, dude, she was young and then she turned old right in front of my face. Like, we want that to come out of his mouth. Like, we try and orchestrate everything we can so that he'll say that. And a lot of times we're in their back room, you know, once they like say the thing that they believe, like, she turned old right in front of me, everyone's like cheering in the hidden room, you know, because we're like, we did it. And they like said their line, so to speak. So yeah, so it's sort of like a weird phantom script that they have that they don't know, little hooks of what I might say, you know, and I like to be really under rehearsed as possible on that kind of thing. I like to know about otherwise it just, like, I've done it before where I started to like come up with a concept and like, and then I'll say this and then I'll say this and this will be funny. And then it starts to sound like really like, it doesn't work as well when you know. Mm-hmm. You got to let it kind of just bloom.
Because people commenting, it's like, you are so witty. The live magic years prepped you for your improv. And we have another comment
100%. You know, she's so right. You know, and Noelle said that to me too. That was Liz saying that. You know, Noelle, when I did we did a benefit show for CM in the 90s or something, like at Sycamore Avenue Elementary School, as a fundraiser. And I think Noelle, when he first saw me on stage, he came up to me after and was like, your sense of improv is incredible. And I kind of didn't even know what that meant at the time. I was like, what? But he meant just like my interaction with the people I would bring up. And but yeah, just doing that. It's funny because the Carbonaro Effect has become a very family friendly show. It's not like I thought like, I'm going to make a show that families can watch together. I didn't like plan it like that. It was more like, I think from performing so many, you know, I performed on Long Island as a magician forever, like hundreds of thousands of parties, birthday parties and communions and christenings and bar mitzvahs. And it was always a family audience. So I kind of found my groove talking to everyone at the same time on different levels. And I think that just translated to the Carbonaro Effect. And that's kind of like who watched it. So I feel very grateful for that.
So we have a question from Jonathan Willis. What's one of the most memorable tricks you performed on your show?
My favorite one, and my most memorable, which I think, I know I had the prop around here earlier. Oh yeah, it was this can. Oh, no. Hi. There was this, this is not a real coffee can because you can't show brand names and stuff. So that's actually one, those are two of the magician team's boys. That's Matt Schick and Chad Sanborn. A little picture of them. Oh, so, cool. But this was a trick that I did at a, I wish I had the clip, but it was a trick at a hardware store called the Builder Beetles, where you ever like go to the hardware store and and here's like answering the earlier question of like, where does an idea come from? Like, you know, like they have those little, sometimes the little cups of the ladybugs on the counter at the hardware store.
I found the clip.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I'll shut up.
No. Tell me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Well, I'm
sorry for throwing up.
I'll just tell it or whatever. I love this trick because it was sort of, to me, it was like the perfect flea circus. It was, I had a little jar on the counter that said Builder Beetles with these real live beetles in it. I just left them there and waited for someone to be like, what are those? And you're like, oh, those? You know, they'll help around the house with like odd jobs. And you're like, what? And I like showed what these beetles can do by putting toothpicks. No, first I took a bolt and I screwed it onto a nut. Sorry, I screwed a nut. I'm like, I have no idea how to do home improvement. I took a nut and screwed it onto a bolt and put it on the table. And then I put the beetle next to it and I covered it with a coffee cup because they only work nocturnally, of course. And you like heard the sound from inside, like Then when I lifted it, there was the beetle with the bolt off of the nut, and it's like a really incredible trick. And they were like, "What?" So you get this idea in your mind that the little beetle is like undoing that nut, and like, you know, what you'll do is you'll drop these into the wall, and they'll go around your house and just sort of tighten, you know, the plates on your outlets and stuff to make sure they're. And they're like, "What?" And then it went all the way up to taking all these toothpicks and pouring the beetles on top and putting that can over the top of it, and you heard noises. And when I lifted it, the Beatles had constructed the toothpicks into like a little Eiffel Tower. And this man like went from totally disbelief to like a 5-year-old at Disneyland. He just was so enchanted, and his jaw dropped, and his eyes were mesmerized. And and then there was a really good BS hook where it was like, well, you know how spiders can build intricate webs. So like that, all of a sudden in your mind, you're like, well, I guess if a spider could build a really intricate web, I guess beetles could kind of put together, right? So, and he believed it. And to me, it always just felt like the actual real world flea circus, you know, like invisible fleas that run the little like circus. Anyway, so that one always stuck with me as the most charming, simple, in an everyday place like a hardware store with a bug. That's my favorite.
Jonathan, who asked the question, was saying, "Oh my God, yes, it was so funny."
Yeah.
And if you do want to see the clip, you can look at it. It's called "The Builder Beatles Michael Carbonaro." I literally just typed that into Google as he was talking, and I pulled it right up. You'll see it right there. But Michael, you've been also touring the country with your stage version, Michael Carbonaro Live, which
yes.
I know
I do it like this now.
Wait, hold on, Michael. I need to take this picture down. Why is it not coming off?
This is how I tour now. This is my current tour look.
Oh my God.
I was touring.
You were touring so you were touring with the show. What was it like to be in front of an audience? Like, I mean, their audiences are like this big, you know, multi-tiered theaters coming to see you.
Freaking incredible, man. The greatest thing in the world. And it beats the show. Like, look, the Carbonaro effect is super cool. When I watch it, I'm so proud of the stuff we've done. And like, it's a really cool show and cutting edge magic. And I can say that because it really takes a lot of work from a lot of people. So I'm not just tooting my own horn. It's everybody pulling this stuff off together. And I can look at it and be like, guys, we nailed this. This is great. And I'm very proud of that stuff. But making the show is never really fun. The trauma of how fast we have to come up with the ideas and getting on the ground where we're going to shoot and getting into a new environment and setting up the cameras on the day and not knowing if the trick is going to work and just figuring it out the night before. And it's been hard. It's really hard. It's not, we don't, on set, we don't like, it's not a lot of fun. I mean, people are always like, why are you not laughing? And I'm like, anxiety and depression. No, because we're like, it's like, because, we're very focused. We got to pull this stuff off and we got to nail like 4 tricks in one place before tomorrow. And we got to do 4 more. And it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. So the trauma of it, making it is not that we don't have laughs together, coming up with crazy ideas. And when there's a big win in the room, it's great. But I mean, generally speaking, making the show is really tough. And then having the show and getting to watch it and when it comes on the air and doing interviews for it, that's awesome. And then, but live touring out there and doing a show, that I know my show in front of like a crowd of people who know they're there to watch magic and getting that back and forth, that we all know magic of theater. That's why we do theater, right? Because there's like, it's a give and take of energy and there's nothing like that. Like, would you still perform, a play in an empty theater? I guess so. You could kind of relate with each other and have it, but it's, what it is. It's the thing. It's the magic of that whole arena. So doing live shows is everything to me. It's like total zen. I've been on stage so many times during the tour over the last 4 years, and I'll be coming out for my final number, which I do the shaving cream thing. And I'm just kind of like, man, this would be a really cool place to just like, if I died in the middle of this act, maybe that would be sad for the crowd, actually. Maybe that actually is a bad thing to think. What a traumatic experience for the children seeing their first magic show. Like, he fell on the stage, Mom. Is this part of the trick? No, but I mean, like, it really is the Zen moment of like, wow, this is so heaven-like. So live theater, take one. Yeah.
I want to jump back into one thing real quick. Greg Rodriguez asked about how do you pick the locations when you end up actually doing the tricks for the show?
Okay, well, we're first of all, when we shot the show, we're like, it's a low budget show. It's on True TV, which no one has ever heard of, right? Even probably people here who've seen my show are like, is that what it's on? It's like it's a small network. It's a cable network. So it's not a big budget show. So we don't, we've had to shoot in twofold. We shoot in states that allow hidden camera because it's different in different states. Some states you have to ask the person ahead of time before you even roll, which
it would ruin it.
And other states you can roll, but then you can't show it unless you get their permission. And of course you can't like roll in a locker room or anything like that. But which there goes a hell of a lot of ideas we have. So here we are. We would choose like a state that has really good tax breaks and also would allow. So we went to Georgia to film the first 3 seasons. Two? Yeah, the first 2 seasons we filmed in Georgia, in Atlanta. So I'm just trying to give you a picture of how we're choosing the location. So now we're in Atlanta, so we got to be here. And then we'll sometimes we'll go around Atlanta and just scope it out and be like, that's a cool place, and we can like build magic for that location. And then the process there's a store called the Junkman's in Atlanta that have a lot of mileage out of, or the one that you showed earlier with the Nutter was a place called Health Unlimited, which was kind of like a hippie, homeopathic health food store, which just was really, it was a great place to just come up with a lot of hocus pocus BS. And so we'll go to them and say like, hey, have you heard of this show? Would you be interested in, us buying out the store for the day? You can still have your customers come in. We kind of lie a little bit. I probably shouldn't say this, but I've seen them pitch it out. They're like, you can still run your ordinary business and we'll be like, not even there. And then it's like the trucks show up the morning we're gonna be there. And it's like, we like infiltrate the hell out of it. And there's cables everywhere, like going out of their windows. And we're like changing in their bathrooms. No, but like, so, right. And we do, because we like using real people who really come in. So we do use their regular customers. Best thing. So we ask them if they're interested. We show them the show. Most of the times we get a yes. Other times, if it's a place like Home Depot, we could never solve that nut. It's just too corporate and it's too hard to get to the top. And then they're like, what? No, we can't. I don't know. And that's always hard. So, yeah, that's how. But we pick them for like good ideas. We'll just be like, what can we do at a mini golf? That'll be fun. And look for interesting locations that normal people will come in, but not too crowded. Geez, I guess there's a lot of criteria. Okay. Yeah. Enough of that question, Greg.
Sweet. So because the show has now been on for 5 seasons, Michael Carbonaro is recognizable. And so when people see you, you're like, oh my God.
Not enough.
But people do recognize. Has it happened where you've been doing a trick and they're like, oh my God, I know who you are?
Oh yeah. It kind of like, and honestly, I didn't think we'd be able to do as many as we've done, but that kind of goes back to, again, being on True TV. Like if this was an NBC show or an ABC hit, I don't know if I would have been able to do more than a season, like more people would know about it. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, and also safety, because I didn't want to do this forever. I never wanted to do a show so long that it was like I didn't want to have that last season of Dexter, where you're like, what? And I wanted to like end on a high note and make everything great. So I was always very careful. So there was sort of this like, maybe it'll burn out. Maybe I won't be able to do it right in time for it to be time to stop. But I would say one out of every 7 people that walk into the store on our last season would be like, oh, and you always see them right away. They know, you could just see that they know right away. Or even if they think, they'll like walk up and be like, hi, I'd like to buy this lollipop. And you're like, oh yeah, so then we just skip it. Like, get out, out of
next.
Here. And then there's other ways that when I do the tricks where I'm like actually working with the person who's working with me for the day, we'll like work with a temp agency and really hire a secretary or really hire like a moving man or whatever. And we'll give them we'll give them a form that they kind of have to, like it says like, oh, the job that you may be coming in for might be part of media. Have you heard, would you be able to work at this radio station? Have you ever heard of this radio show? Would you be able to do, have you heard of these guests? Have you heard of these TV shows? And there's sort of like this questionnaire and it's buried in there. Mm-hmm. And if they check that they've heard of the Carbonaro effect, then we don't hire them.
So hopefully it's all. Oh well, hopefully you haven't hired many people that most people know about you, or than those who
and then
come
you
in.
Get some really nice moments where they know, and it's funny, like that happens too. And then there's other people who like. I get through the whole trick and then I reveal and they're like, I know that show. And you're like, you just fell for it and that I've seen it, but I wasn't thinking it was you look a little different. And I just, people aren't thinking.
Yeah. So it seems like you have such a fun time. I was perusing through your Instagram page, pulling up pictures of you, you living your life and just enjoying and having fun, and it just seems like you just have like a great time in general, and just you just love life. It seems.
It looks that way, doesn't it? Yeah, that did look nice. I was watching that like, oh, that guy looks like he has a nice life.
Look how nice.
Yeah, he looks normal.
You are so, because I do my education. I try to prep myself for the interviews, and I've seen just from your life, just besides being a performer, you're also a beautiful artist. Like you draw, and paint, and then you mentioned earlier in the interview, you talked about makeup, and I know I've known you for a while. And seeing your ability with makeup has just always been just an awe to me. Like, and like, this is you.
That's me. Yeah. That's kind of a cheat though, because that's a silicone mask. That was like a Halloween. I didn't have a lot of time, but that is me. That I did from scratch. That's me and my husband, Peter. I'm the Kiefer Sutherland from the Lost Boys there, and he is the Alex Winter from the Lost Boys. I made that jacket. I made my jacket. I made the fangs, my hair, I did the prosthetics and the makeup. Yeah, it went crazy. I loved that. This was a good Halloween. Oh my God, I went out twice like that, and it was, people who knew the Lost Boys were like gaga. They were freaking out. It was really awesome. It was great. So one dude actually was like, can I take a picture and send this to Joel? And I'm like, Joel who? He's like, Joel Schumacher. He's my friend. And I'm like, what? Who directed the Lost Boys? I was like, yeah, please send it to him. But yeah, that was a trip. And that's my real hair. And that's Peter's real hair too. I curled, the mullet's not real in the back on either of us, but I curled his hair and sprayed it. And my hair, that's my regular hair with like spray, like gold spray to make it look like bleach blonde. Nailed it. It looks good, God. Right? Very
amazing.
Proud.
Amazing. How did you turn into her?
That was very easy. I just didn't put makeup on in the morning.
No, you're an incredible artist, and you're an incredible artist.
Thank you.
And it's really awesome to see, and just from knowing you for so long, to see how successful you have been. And Michael, we've been talking for a good time, and I want to be respectful of your time. So I'm gonna.
I have a very, very busy night. I have to rinse off the Tupperware.
Well, so Michael, what inspires you now to do what you do, and why you are still performing? What inspires you now?
Can you hear that saw?
I thought that was the cat.
No, that's the saw. They're doing work on the house next door. What inspires me now? I think about that a lot because it's sort of like a mystery. Like I don't always know where ideas come from, and sometimes you got to catch them when they come. Like ideas just sort of like land in your mind, and you got to like write it down quick and like jump on it and do it. And I find that when I distill it down, I just like weird things. I love absurd things. I just like things that are totally goofy. It just makes me really happy. I'm so inspired by absurdity because the world is so like, you know, we think we're smart, we think we know what we're doing, and we think we've got the world figured out, but like everything's a mystery. Like magic brings mystery, and I love when someone just does something just really offbeat. Like I just started getting into and I'm pretty damn late, but Flight of the Conchords, that TV show. And I watched their music and everything like that, and I love him too, Jermaine from What We Do in the Shadows. But that's another movie that like he made that it's so freaking off the wall. I love off the wall, crazy sentiments. It just really gets me going. And anything that is supposed to like be something that's why like makeup is very similar to magic. It's like it looks like your face is, you know, like a vampire, but it's not real. Like I just love that. But it looks real, but it's not. Like that's a trick. That's an illusion. That just gets me going. That's always inspiring.
So, Michael, I went to your page and you posted this recently. I think it says a mantra. I can't see the top of the image. It says, "I don't know where I'm going, but I'm gay." But I asked this question of everybody who's on the show. What's your motto? And I guess is that your mantra?
I guess that's it. God, isn't that adorable? The cat. Yeah. You know, and there was something to that. That is sort of like. Yeah, almost what that's a great answer to your question of like what inspires you. It's just sort of like, I don't know who I am, but man, I love crazy shit. I love weird things. Like that is always obvious. I always love obvious things. And there's something to just even gay and not gay that like I like men and I have a husband, but like gay, queer, like queer is like offbeat, bizarre and weird. Like I just love that. Like, you know, put me in this weird carnival crazy things. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm a gay monster. That cat is cool.
So, Michael, we in one of our last parts of our interviews, we do the Actor Studio quick answer questions. The first thing that comes to mind. Are you up to answering these questions?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, all right, here we go. So, what is your favorite word?
Magic.
What's your least favorite word?
Content.
What in life turns you on?
Freakishness.
What in life turns you off?
Ego.
What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of driving over a bridge when you hit the grated metal part and it goes like.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, like a fork scraping on a plate.
What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh, man. Well, special makeup art.
What profession would you not like to do?
Landscaping.
And if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
We got a table for you in the back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Carbonaro. Michael, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you so much for spending the evening with us. We have so many thank yous. I'm gonna pull this up real quick, and if anyone has a question, a last minute question for Michael, here's the chance to write it. Michael, thank you for helping to support the theater during this time. Noelle would be so proud, and we all appreciate you. Bernadette Mescal-Torre Rodriguez, I'd like to say some of us prepped him for his challenging moments.
Oh, 1,000,000%. Oh my God. 1,000,000%. Back to the CM family. Lots of times at Thai Show East dealing with drama. Yeah. Lots of challenges and drama and help to get through it.
Wesley Oakes. Hey, Hey, Mike, looking great. Well, Michael, thank you so much for spending the evening with us. We very much appreciate it, and thank you for being here.
Thanks, Tim. This was awesome. Bye, guys. Lay your burden down.
All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna
Somebody find that. Somebody have a recording of Noelle singing that. Oh my God! Please get it to me. I want to just hear that.
We will make sure to get it to you.
Get your people on it. All right.
Cool. I will be right back. Everybody, Michael Carbonaro, thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much for being here. So, let me go to I'm moving to my program closing. Why is it not opening? So thank you again for so much for being here. So next week on CM Spotlight, we will be bringing together individuals from on a panel, CM alumni who have entertained on the cruise industry, Anthony Arpino, Simone Catalano, Emily Hannaway, Bobby Montaniz, and Jennifer Roller. I'm sorry. We also have a program on the 28th of May and June 4th, and we'll be announcing them coming up soon. Following that, on June 11th, CM Spotlight is going to be bringing back the original Pink Ladies, our first Pink Ladies in Greece, on Thursday, June 11th. On the broadcast will be Beth Belkin, Schneider, Lisa Macchia, Ronelle Goodman-Hills, and Christina Diorda. So as we close, I would remind you kindly, please consider donating to CM Performing Arts Center today. The address is right here, cmpac.com/donate. It will bring you to the GoFundMe page. Any dollar helps, and it will help us to continue the work that we do, which is Broadway quality entertainment in the backyard in Oakdale, New York. So I would thank everybody for being here. Again, a special thank you to Michael Carbonaro. We are incredibly proud of you, and we look forward to seeing you at the theater soon. And for everybody out there, this wraps up another CM Spotlight. And on behalf of the CM family, please stay safe, be well, and we will see you next week.